There is a quiet force that shapes everything without announcing itself. They erode, quietly, almost politely. Days repeat, habits settle, and what once felt temporary becomes permanent without announcement. There is no dramatic failure, no clear breaking point, just a slow drift into routines that no longer build anything. It is like standing in a place where nothing improves, but nothing feels urgent enough to change. And that is where the real danger lives, because stagnation does not feel like destruction, yet over time it leaves very little intact. This is the space where Kaizen begins as resistance against slow decay. Kaizen is a Japanese concept that means change for better, built on the idea that small, consistent improvements lead to significant long-term results. It originated in post-World War II Japan and became a core part of systems like the Toyota production system, where companies focus not on massive innovation, but on constant refinement. Instead of chasing breakthroughs, they improved processes step by step, day after day. And over time, those small changes created systems so efficient that they reshaped entire industries. This is where Kaizen becomes different from everything else. Most people are taught to think in extremes: big goals, big motivation, big transformation. But Kaizen rejects that idea completely. It operates on a quieter belief. Improvement does not need to be dramatic to be powerful. In fact, the smaller the change, the more likely it is to last. One of the core principles of Kaizen is that everything can be improved, no matter how small. It is not about perfection. It is about movement, a system, a habit, a skill, even a thought pattern. Nothing is fixed. Everything is either improving or deteriorating. As one reflection puts it, things either get better or worse. There is no neutral state. What feels like stability is often slow decline. This idea becomes uncomfortable when applied to personal life, because it means doing nothing is not harmless. It is a direction. It means if you are not improving your habits, they are quietly getting worse. If you are not strengthening your discipline, it is weakening. Kaizen forces a shift in perspective. It removes the illusion of standing still. Real-life experiences reflect this clearly. Many people who adopt Kaizen describe it not as a sudden transformation, but as a subtle shift that changes everything over time. Daily tweaks that add up to serious results. Initially, these adjustments seem trivial: rising 10 minutes sooner, briefly honing a skill, or refining a single detail of your day. It's easy to dismiss them as inconsequential. However, Kaizen prioritizes the consistency of the effort over the scale of the task. It is about the consistency of the direction. This is where the philosophy becomes powerful. Small actions are easy to repeat, and repetition creates momentum. The brain resists large change because it feels threatening. Massive goals require massive energy, and most people cannot sustain that. Kaizen bypasses this resistance by making change so small that it becomes acceptable, almost effortless. And because it is effortless, it becomes consistent. Over time, consistency compounds. In Japan, this philosophy extends beyond business into daily life. It shapes how people approach work, learning, and even personal growth. It is not about rushing toward success, but about refining the process that leads to it. Modern interpretations of Kaizen emphasize that incremental progress creates sustainable success and prevents burnout. This is why Kaizen often succeeds where motivation fails. Motivation is unstable. It comes and goes. But small habits, repeated daily, do not depend on motivation. They depend on structure. One of the most important frameworks within Kaizen is the cycle of improvement. Plan, do, check, act. It sounds simple, but it creates a loop of continuous refinement. You plan a small improvement, apply it, observe the result, and adjust. Then you repeat. This loop never ends. There is no final stage, only continuous evolution. Kaizen stops being merely a tool and becomes a way of thinking. It teaches that success is not a destination. It is a process that is constantly being adjusted. This idea can be difficult to accept because it removes the idea of a final arrival. There is no point where everything is complete. But at the same time, it removes pressure. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be slightly better than yesterday. There is also a deeper philosophical layer to Kaizen. It is rooted in humility, the belief that no system, no person, no skill is beyond improvement. This directly challenges ego, because ego prefers the idea of being already good enough. Kaizen replaces that with a different idea. You are always in progress. What looks like a vulnerability is actually your greatest edge. Companies that adopted Kaizen did not try to dominate overnight. They focused on improving small inefficiencies, eliminating waste, and refining processes. Over time, these small improvements created systems that outperformed competitors who relied on large, infrequent changes. The lesson is clear. Consistency beats intensity. In personal life, this applies directly. Many people wait for the right moment to change. A new year, a new plan, a sudden burst of motivation. But Kaizen does not wait. It starts immediately with whatever is available. Improve one thing, then improve it again and again. There is also a psychological effect that makes Kaizen powerful. Each small improvement creates a sense of progress, and progress reinforces motivation. This creates a loop where action leads to reward, and reward leads to more action. Unlike large goals that feel distant and overwhelming, small improvements provide immediate feedback. This keeps the process alive. Real-life testimonies often highlight this shift. People who struggled with consistency found that reducing the size of their goals made them sustainable. Instead of trying to change everything, they focused on one small improvement at a time. Over weeks and months, those small changes accumulated into noticeable transformation. This is the compounding effect of Kaizen. It is like planting seeds instead of waiting for a tree. At first, there is nothing visible, just soil. But beneath the surface, growth is happening. Roots are forming, and once those roots are strong enough, growth accelerates. Most people quit before this stage because they expect visible results too early. Kaizen requires patience. It is a long-term strategy. It is not designed for immediate satisfaction. It is designed for lasting change. Another key aspect of Kaizen is the elimination of waste. In business, this means removing unnecessary steps, reducing inefficiencies, and improving workflow. In personal life, this translates to removing habits that do not contribute to growth. Wasted time, unnecessary distractions, unproductive routines. Kaizen does not just add improvement. It removes what slows you down. This creates clarity, and clarity creates focus. Focus is what makes progress possible. There is also a collective aspect to Kaizen. In organizations, everyone participates in improvement, from leadership to workers. This creates a culture where progress is continuous, not dependent on a single person. In personal life, this can be applied through environment, surrounding yourself with people, systems, and routines that encourage improvement, because improvement is easier when it is supported. The danger of ignoring Kaizen is not immediate failure. It is slow stagnation, a life where nothing changes significantly, but nothing improves either. Over time, this leads to frustration, not because of lack of ability, but because of lack of direction. Kaizen removes that stagnation. It replaces it with movement, small, consistent movement. The reason Kaizen can make someone unstoppable is simple. It does not rely on intensity. It relies on persistence. And persistence is harder to stop. Strength comes from persistence, not starting power.